In a time long ago, in a land where rolling hills met endless skies, the Israelites lived under the heavy shadow of the Philistines for 40 years. In the quiet village of Zorah, there lived a man named Manoah and his wife. They had no children, and their hearts ached with longing. One day, as the golden sun bathed the fields, an angel appeared to Manoah's wife while she worked in the garden. "Do not be afraid," the angel spoke softly. "Though you have no children now, you will conceive and bear a son. He must be dedicated to God from birth. Never cut his hair, for he will begin to rescue Israel from the Philistines." Overwhelmed with joy, she ran to tell Manoah. "A man of God came to me," she exclaimed. "His appearance was like that of an angel." Manoah prayed, "Lord, let the man of God come again and teach us how to bring up the boy." God heard his prayer, and the angel returned, guiding them on how to raise their child. Soon, a baby boy was born. They named him Samson, which means sunlight, for he brought light into their lives. As Samson grew, it became clear he was no ordinary child. He possessed incredible strength, a divine gift that flowed through his veins. One day, as a young man, Samson traveled to Timnah. Along the way, a fierce lion lunged at him from the vineyards. With astounding might, he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as easily as one might break a twig. He told no one of this miraculous feat. Later, passing by the lion's remains, he noticed a swarm of bees had made a hive inside. He scooped out some honey, sweet and golden, and tasted it. He shared it with his parents, but did not reveal where it came from. This secret was a symbol of the mysteries that surrounded him. Samson's heart was captured by a Philistine woman from Timnah. His parents were concerned. "Isn't there someone among our own people you could marry?" they asked. But Samson was determined. "She is the right one for me," he insisted. At the wedding feast, surrounded by 30 Philistine companions, Samson decided to challenge them with a riddle, inspired by his encounter with the lion and the honey. "Let me tell you a riddle," he announced. "If you can solve it within the 7 days of the feast, I'll give you 30 fine garments. If not, you must give me 30 garments." "Tell us the riddle," they agreed eagerly. He smiled and said, "Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet." For 3 days they puzzled over the riddle but could not solve it. Frustrated, they pressured Samson's new wife. "Coax your husband into explaining the riddle," they demanded, "or we will harm you and your family." Tearfully, she pleaded with Samson, "You hate me. You won't tell me the answer." After much persistence, he finally confided in her. She immediately shared the secret with her people. Before sunset on the 7th day, the men approached Samson with the answer. "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" they declared. Realizing he had been betrayed, Samson's eyes flashed with anger. "If you had not plowed with my heifer," he retorted, "you would not have solved my riddle." In his fury, he went to Ashkelon, struck down 30 men, and gave their garments to those who had solved the riddle. Burning with anger and hurt, he returned to his father's house. Unbeknownst to him, his wife was given to another man. When Samson later returned to claim his bride, her father refused. "I was sure you hated her," he explained. "I gave her to your companion, but her younger sister is even more beautiful. Take her instead." Feeling deeply wronged, Samson vowed revenge. He caught 300 foxes, tied their tails together in pairs with torches, and set them loose in the Philistines' fields. The flames roared, consuming their grain, vineyards, and olive groves. The night sky glowed with the fiery devastation. The Philistines were enraged. "Who did this?" they demanded. Upon learning it was Samson, they sought to capture him. Samson's own people, fearful of the Philistines, handed him over, bound with new ropes. But as the Philistines approached, the Spirit of the Lord surged within him. He snapped the ropes as if they were threads. Spotting the jawbone of a donkey, he seized it and fought fiercely, defeating 1,000 men. The ground was strewn with the fallen, a testament to his unmatched strength. Exhausted, he cried out, "O Lord, you have given your servant great victory. Must I now die of thirst?" God provided water from a hollow in the ground, reviving him. Years passed, and Samson continued to challenge the Philistines. In Gaza, he was ambushed, but he escaped by uprooting the city's massive gates and carrying them to the top of a hill, a stunning display of his power. Later, in the valley of Sorek, Samson fell in love with Delilah, a woman of captivating charm. The Philistine leaders saw an opportunity. They offered her a fortune in silver to discover the secret of his strength. "Tell me the secret of your great power," Delilah pleaded, her eyes searching his. 3 times Samson misled her, giving false answers. But day after day, her persistence wore him down. Finally, he revealed the truth. "My strength lies in my hair," he confessed. While he slept, Delilah called a man to shave off his 7 braids. When the Philistines attacked, Samson awoke but found himself weak and powerless. They seized him, blinded him, and took him to Gaza, where he was bound with bronze shackles and forced to grind grain in prison. But as the days passed, Samson's hair began to grow back. His heart turned toward God, and a flicker of hope ignited within him. The Philistines held a grand festival to honor their god Dagon, celebrating Samson's capture. The temple was filled with men and women, and the air was thick with laughter and revelry. Blind and humbled, Samson was led into the temple. He asked the servant guiding him. Standing between the massive pillars, Samson prayed earnestly, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, strengthen me just once more, so that I may take revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." With a deep breath, he braced himself and pushed against the pillars with all his might. The temple groaned and began to shake. The pillars cracked, and the entire structure collapsed, falling upon Samson and the Philistines. In his final act, he defeated more enemies in death than he had in life.